If I could turn back time, I'd find a way to take back all the words that have hurt you and you'd stay for another week of Michigan beer news. Hopefully you'll forgive me, so let's get into it. Just a few weeks back, I had news of Harmony Brewing closing one of their locations, and this week we've got another satellite brewing location of a different brewery closing down. This time around, it's the Northport location of Mitten Brewing Company in Leelanau County. Opened back in 2016, the Northport Mitten Brewing location had become a mainstay. They did a lot for the community and they did a lot of events in the area, and I think the bigger sting of this news is that the reason for the closure isn't really business related. As you hear a lot in the beer community for breweries that rent their space, according to Mitten Brewing, this is an issue with the landlord. Now, according to their Facebook page, the landlord has been having disputes with the village, and Mitten's been kind of caught in the middle. Rather than pay an unaffordable penalty fee to continue their lease, they decided to just go ahead and close up shop. The good news is Mitten will continue to operate in Grand Rapids, Saugatuck, and their Mitten Pizza Company restaurant in Rockford. If you enjoy pizza and beer, give those locations a try if you haven't already. Mitten is a mandatory brewery visit when I'm in the area. Their pizza is amazing, so if you like pizza, most people do, go check them out. Pabst has announced they're discontinuing PBR Hard Coffee. While it's the top-selling hard coffee brand, they've seen a 40% drop in sales year over year, and that doesn't seem like a loss that they want to continue to swallow. Were you a fan of PBR Hard Coffee? You can find my review in the description. While I liked it, it wasn't something I'd go out of my way to drink myself every day, and I guess others feel the same way too. If you weren't aware, Busch makes beer for dogs. The original variety is called Busch Dog Brew, and it's brewed with bone-in pork butt, corn, and mint. Don't worry, your dog won't be mistaking your closet for a toilet any more than it was before. This brew is non-alcoholic. Just in time for Thanksgiving, Busch is releasing a new version this time around. It's called Busch Light Turkey Brew, and it's made with bone-in turkey, sweet potato, sweet basil, peppermint leaves, turmeric, ginger, and water. Busch states that this brew is made specifically for a dog's refined palate, although your dog also probably licks its own butthole, so take that for what it's worth. If you're interested in treating your dog, you can purchase 4 12-ounce cans for $15 on Anheuser-Busch's website, and it can be shipped across state lines, unlike regular beer here to Michigan. At $15 for a 4-pack, I'd just say skip the dog and buy yourself a beer that you actually like, but I also don't own a dog, so take that for what it's worth. Speaking of shipping beer to Michigan, there have been a few reports of people getting emails out of the blue from Tavour. If you're unfamiliar with Tavour, it's primarily an app you could use to purchase beer from all over the country to be shipped directly to your door. Early in the pandemic, it was a great way to get beers from hype breweries without trading. At the time, Tavour was working in a sort of gray area. In order to sell in Michigan, they needed to have a location in Michigan, and they were using a Royal Oak Medical Supply shipper as their Michigan location, or at least that's how it was working here on the east side of the state. In 2021, the Michigan Supreme Court rejected a decision from a Detroit federal judge questioning a 2016 law limiting direct shipment of alcoholic beverages to consumers, and that effectively closed the loophole that Tavour was working in. While I don't see that law being overturned anytime soon, I just kind of found it curious they'd be sending email to former customers in Michigan. Side note, Michigan breweries are allowed to sell their beer through Tavour. They're allowed to export their beer out of state, but Michigan consumers are prohibited from purchasing beer from outside of the state and having it shipped directly to them. Let's move on to the latest labels approved by the TTB. As always, here's my personal disclaimer. I don't have a date as to when you can expect to see these beers hitting your shelves. This whole segment is more of a crystal ball to just tell you what's coming up in the near future, something to keep your eyeballs peeled for if you're interested in any of these beers. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tackle the individual beer labels first, so here we go. Austin Brothers is releasing a triple New England style IPA with Strata, Citra, and Galaxy hops. This beer is known as Kitty Chow, and it tips the scales at 11%. This beer is a collaboration with Ascension Brewing Company out of Novi, and you'll notice the very cute label design is designed by Ascension's in-house designer, Greg Willett. If you're interested in seeing more of Greg's designs, you can check him out at Dub Design. Next up is Barrel Borman from Middle Coast Brewing Company in Traverse City, Michigan. You may remember them as Monkey Fist Brewing Company. Barrel Borman is a 9.8% bourbon barrel-aged oatmeal stout and is part of a limited series of beers from the brewery. Last up for the individual breweries is Pear Hugs from Saugatuck Brewing Company. This is a 5% spiced pear ale. They state on the label that this was canned exclusively for the tap room and can't be found anywhere on shelves, so if you're looking for this warm, spicy hug, you'll need to go to their tap rooms to do so. Now into the larger breweries in the state. First up is going to be Bell's. They've got yet another revision to their Two Hearted label. This one could probably be due to different mediums. So the ones we saw a few weeks ago could have been for regular cans and bottles. This one looks to be more of a tall boy label. It states on the top of the label this is a 7% ABV IPA, which should be no surprise to regular Two Hearted drinkers. But they've also got a new entry to the Two Hearted series, and this time it's called Hazy Hearted IPA. Bell's doesn't go so far to say that the 7.5% IPA is a New England style. They just simply say that it's a hazy IPA, while part of me wishes that Two Hearted was just something that they just, left alone, rather than adding all these Cold Hearted or Black Hearted and other versions. I guess as long as more people are getting into beer, I really can't argue too much. Expect to see more variations with the change in ownership. I mean, how many Voodoo Rangers are there at this point? I've lost count a long time ago. Last but not least, we've got 3 new ones from New Holland Brewing. First, we have Super Bear, which is a feeder-aged white sour ale with honey and orange juice. Expect this 4.1% sour to have woody characteristics as well as being more of a traditional sour. Next is Batch 100, which is a Zeppelin Bend whiskey barrel-aged imperial stout with cinnamon and vanilla. While I don't see the ABV listed on the label, I'd expect that it's going to be pretty high. This is the first time that this 100th batch out of the Grand Rapids Brewhouse has been bottled, so I'd expect it to be pretty lively. And batting cleanup on this label run is Dragon's Milk Reserve S'mores. This 11% bourbon barrel-aged stout has been released a few times, notably in 2017 and 2018. I think there was one last year as well. Here's to hoping they've decided to thicken up this release, as the last few Dragon's Milk Reserve I reviewed have been water thin. As for this weekend's events, I've got a couple for you. The first and largest of the bunch is the Michigan Brewers Guild 13th Annual Detroit Fall Beer Festival in Eastern Market. This huge outdoor festival runs from 1 to 6 this Saturday the 22nd, and this time around it'll feature 109 breweries and 618 unique beers in 86 different styles, 79 of which will probably be IPA. All the big dogs will be there, including some that aren't even owned in the state anymore, including Bell's and Founders. At the time of this recording, tickets are still available, and with fees, each ticket will cost you about $60. If you're going to buy them at the gate, if they're available, they'll run you $65 a person. All the details are available at mibeer.com, including the brewery list and beer lists. If mead is more your speed, check out Bee Nectar in Ferndale after 5 p.m. on the 22nd, the same day as the Beer Fest. They're promising fun. And if you're in the Livonia area, Supernatural Brewing is releasing their 13 beers of Halloween. Each day features a new release up until the 29th, and on the 29th, all 13 beers will be available on tap. Last week's question of the week: how do you battle back the pounds while drinking craft beer? Michael Kincaid does the old reliable method of weighing himself once a week and adjusting where necessary. And Eric Letowski tries to limit his beer intake to a few days a week and exercises while doing some intermittent fasting the rest of the week. On to the new question of the week: which is better, Oktoberfest, pumpkin beers, stout season? What's your opinion on stout season? Let me know in the comments down below. The best answers will be read during next week's episode. And that's going to do it for this week's Michigan Beer News Blast. If you've enjoyed it and want to see more, give me a like, subscribe if you haven't. And if you have a friend that's complaining Bell's doesn't release enough hazy beers, or maybe they want a beer for their dog, be sure to share this video with them. Also, let me know in the comments down below what kind of news you want to see from these videos going forward. If you got a hot tip or maybe an upcoming event you want me to share, hit me up at drafttherapy@gmail.com or tell us in the comments below. So until next time, I'm Sean from Draft Therapy signing off. Remember, drink craft beer, support your local breweries, and until next time, don't forget to treat yourself to a little draft therapy. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time. Cheers.